me today, lovely Jane.
Thank you for having me. It's very exciting to be part of your group.
It is very exciting, and I wanted to give the ladies the opportunity to hear from you today because I just recently launched the details with them about the upcoming May Masterclass with you as our special guest presenter. And Masterclasses, as you know, are usually part of my Nurture Circle membership, but you've been so generous in terms of offering for us to put this masterclass out there to the wider community so everyone can have access just to attend this May Masterclass as a one-off event. So thank you so much for being generous with that.
Anytime.
And we've decided to host it over the Mother's Day weekend, so not this Saturday, but and it will be a Saturday morning, a really lovely way just to celebrate women in general over that. And I thought I'd just give the ladies a little bit of info about who you are, how we met, and then I do have some questions that we're going to have to chat about today too. So that all sounds great with you. We'll get started.
Yep, absolutely.
Wonderful. So Jane and I met, it was 2020. It was around August. And I actually was introduced to your business by the lovely Fiona, who is a member of this community as well, one of my very special friends. And she actually introduced me to your business. You were running some sessions at the time in terms of styling your Zoom. So really helping people adapt to this online and consider what that looks like on a little screen. And that was a wonderful masterclass. Maybe it takes so much away from that, but we have continued the conversation inside of that and have had a number of Zooms together, a number of conversations. We have, of course, we've been working on collaborating with this masterclass as well, but you've really been someone who has, since August, really helped me in terms of offering me support, offering me guidance, sharing your beautiful words of wisdom with me, which I've been very, very thankful for. So that's why I'm so excited from the ladies to hear from you today.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for saying that. I think like attracts like always. I think gentle souls, we find each other somehow. And I love that you sort of just need to be open and somehow we get guided and you listen to the whispers and we do find each other, which is really beautiful.
We do. And you're a very clever lady because you actually have two businesses. So you have intuitive businesses, and that's the way that I was kind of introduced to your whole energy. I think your energy really comes across in both of your businesses, but intuitive whispers and your beautiful perfumes, and the ladies who were my founding members in the Nurtured Circle got that gorgeous deodorant. So you have that beautiful business, which I love, the philosophy and the values behind that as well, and you have styling, which is what we're sharing more about today and what will be coming through in the masterclass. But I love that your message that comes across, and this is the message and the energy that I get from too, is just sprinkling kindness and support and self-love. That's so beautiful, and I think so often misses in the health and wellbeing space. So I love that you're able to bring
Absolutely. And I think it gets a bit lost in the fashion space too. I've worked in the fashion industry my whole career, and it's talked about a little bit more now, but people used to say, "Oh, you're so nice." I'm like, and it was always with such a negative connotation to it. But I just believe it's more important to be a bit of kindness goes a long way. You can still be true to yourself, but I think a bit of kindness is very important. And I respond that way. I learn that way, and I open up when people create a safe space. And say with my styling, I tend to work with women who have they will open up, and we will make progress when you allow yourself to be a little bit vulnerable. And to me, being vulnerable, you need to know that you're in a space that you're not going to be judged or you're judged, I suppose, is the main part, whether it's about fashion, your body, because our confidence, our emotions, our wobbly bits, they're all pretty close to home, and we all have them. It's just, knowing a few tricks along the way to take the attention away from them.
But I love what you said too. I think it is being surrounded by that kindness, and that's what, wonderful you've created, and that's what this community is about too, being surrounded by the kindness, because it also will encourage you to offer kindness to yourself. And I know a lot, we talk a lot about being kind to others and doing kind gestures for other people, and which is great, and I love to. But I think there's so long in my life I've focused on that, but I actually haven't been able to show myself the same kindness.
Yeah. I had the nicest compliment from a lady who's done my my program over time. So we've worked together since July last year, and she's in her late 40s, and she said, Jane, I have never loved my body ever. And she's a mum of two, educated, great job, all, on the surface has everything. And she said, I've never loved my body. And she said, finally now, she said, you don't advertise that you teach self-love, but actually it's infused with everything you do. And for me, it was actually one of the best compliments I could ever get, because isn't that what it's about? Like being able to stand in front of the mirror, and instead of our eye going straight to tummies, hips, bottom, whichever bit that you're most conscious of, to then go, all right, yes, that's there, but I've done all these amazing things, or just not viewing that as the main focus. And also I call it like the 150% goggles. We look in the mirror and look straight at that particular area, and then if I looked at you in the mirror, I bet you my eyes wouldn't go to that same spot. So it's that self-talk, acceptance. Would we treat our best girlfriend the way that we talk to ourselves? Probably not.
Absolutely. And actually, picking up on that, parts of the body, as you said, we all have something that we don't love about ourselves, and it's something that I did share in a session last year in my community as well. And it was something that I read in a book that really made me stop and pause. And so one area of my body that have always been frustrated by is my tummy. I've never had a flat tummy, even when I was and everything. I've always been frustrated by it. It's always the thing, seems to stick with clothing and all of that. But I remember reading a book, and it was like, actually think about, what has that area of your body given you? And for me, it's been that part of my body has helped grow my beautiful children. So
absolutely,
you can kind of start to work out how you can appreciate that area of your body, perhaps what it's given you. Of course, it will take time. We're not talking about, going, I love my body, and it takes time to be supported and guided in that. But it can definitely forward in terms of that self offer to your body.
And that is part of why I've designed my courses, actually, whether they're self-paced or working with me. Like lots of stylists, I help people with their wardrobes and take them shopping and all of that. But I find it's not just that one sentence at one time that you suddenly go, oh yeah, now I love my tummy. It takes time, and it takes nurturing. I describe it a bit like counselling. It takes time to accept, and then move to embrace. It's a process. It's a process for all of us. And you're right. I haven't really, sort of sadly, but I haven't really met many women in my adult career that I've been working with women, which is more than 25 years, probably more. There's not. I can probably count on one hand how many women have turned around and said, "I love my body the way it is right now." It's amazing.
And I loved, and I know we're going to talk about this in a moment as well too, but your approach in terms of what this masterclass will be, but of course your overall business is, you know, finding the right clothes to love the size you're at right now.
Right now, yeah.
Right now. And I thought I'd touch on that a little bit in terms of my own wardrobe style over the years. So I worked in corporate, you know, loved dressing up, loved, you know, doing the corporate thing and getting myself out the door. And but I have always been someone though who has been up and down in my weight. So there's always been clothes that fit at a certain time, clothes that don't fit at another time. Maybe I'll on to that in case one day I lose the X amount of kilos, you know, all of that. And I wanted to, after having both of my kids, you know, getting back into things in my wardrobe, and I found myself, you know, the maternity jeans were quite comfy, so I hung on to those for a while. Last year, obviously not going anywhere. So last year, I was very comfy in hanging out at home in my dressing gown, in my active wear, which of course it's about comfort and it's about discovering what works for you. And where I'm finding myself right now, though, is that I don't want to have to think of other options to go out. I don't want to dress up, which is something I used to love. And I'm not talking about fancy dressing up, just about nice clothes that I feel great in. And so I'm off the back of last year going, I just want to stay in my snuggly dressing gown or in my active wear, but so what other options do I have? You know, it's nice when I go out and about. My daughter so lovingly said to me recently, Mum, I think you need to start wearing some nice clothes out again. In a nice way. She was being very, come on, let's have a look and let's see what you have, which was beautiful. So that's kind of where I've been at in my wardrobe journey. I guess I've never really found my style, though, I don't think. It's kind of easy to get caught up in the, you know, just throwing on whatever works, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Or hanging on to things because you think one day they'll fit you again.
I know. Yeah, yes, I see that a lot. And it's like that. It's holding on to pieces from a time when perhaps we felt like that was we were at our peak, you know, we were at our optimum size or stage of our life, or, you know, say it was pre-babies with you, but you're not that same girl anymore. You're the new version of. And so, like, having said all of that, like, I don't encourage let's just throw everything out and start again, because I think that's really wasteful. But I think it's finding the new version of you. I must say I tend to dress and somehow gravitate towards a lot of women who have left corporate, perhaps working for themselves, or and finding that middle zone, which I need to coin a great phrase for it, and I haven't quite yet, but that middle zone for working attire that's, you know, perhaps a bit more creative and interesting, a bit more perhaps comfort is a bit higher on the list because it's not corporate wear. You know, we're dashing around doing lots of things in a day, but it's well and truly a step up from, you know, yoga gear, that kind of thing. Like, I've got a couple of thoughts after last year of us all being so super casual. I've seen and I've spoken to a lot of women, particularly this year, that I think what happens is we lose our confidence a bit by being in super cash day after day after day. Somehow our identity and confidence and it sort of all has got a bit lost in that wash there. And I mean, I can identify too. I remember it, perhaps into this year, the start of this year, thinking, nah, I don't want to wear those. I feel like I wore the same few things all of last year. And that's fine, but I need to move through that now. I need to find the new version of Jane again. And like I'm in it and I know what I'm doing, but I still needed a bit of a refresh and a bit of an update, like just a few pieces infused with what we've already got. And it's like a new version of comfort, it's more dressed up than casual, really. Like you know, I did a Zoom part of when we met with our Style My Zooms, and I did that whole series as a complimentary thing, because I sat on so many Zooms and there were professional women. I remember one was an accountant, and she appeared straight out of the shower, wet hair, polar fleece, no makeup, the whole lot. And she said, "Jane, do you really think it matters?" And I said, "Well, look at it this way. If I am considering trusting you with all of my family's finances, so changing over to you, how do you think you present? You know, how do you want to present? Is that, you know, take a screenshot. This is what I encouraged everyone to do, which you included. You know, take a screenshot, and is that how you want us to see you? And if it is, great. But I did say to her, look, if we were meeting in person, would you wear that? And she said, well, no. I said, well, what's the difference? And I know with me, so as we were talking, today's a Zoomy Zoom day, so I'm on a lot. I'm in high heels the whole lot today, because for me, once I put all that on, I feel like me, and I feel on and ready and present, you know, professional. Whereas if I had my yoga gear on the bottom, somehow it just, my headspace is a bit different. And so I suppose big picture, I can see that is beneficial to shift out of with what we all went through last year. You know, it just, I think it's time to move out of it a little bit. Yeah, move out of that super duper.
Yeah,
and lift our positivity.
That's true. I guess once, you know, thinking about that whilst you've been sharing, when I've got my dressing gown on, and you know, that for me is a real wind down.
Yep.
You know, once I put that on, it's about winding down. It's about getting myself ready for the evening, or you know, just having a day where you're just chilling out with your but yeah, you touched on confidence too, and I think that's where I've got to in thinking about, okay, what am I putting on to go, you know, to go out in? That's great. I mean, my active wear, but what does that represent for me later in my day? And I love that you've shared it's about creating the new version.
Yeah. And perhaps, like, you know, when your version now, say with your business and lifestyle, it's not tottering around in your corporate-y kind of look, you know, because you'd feel a bit sort of, it's too much, and it's also not who you are right now. You know, so for it's adapting the new version. So, like, I'm a big fan, I must say, of jackets, particularly on Zoomy Zooms. Not that I'm wearing one today, actually, but not corporate jackets. I think let's throw in a bit more fashion edge and a bit more fun and creative and interesting, just that point of interest. So that, because we're not all cookie cutter, and I don't know about you, but I don't want to be stuck in a box. I don't want that at all. But it's working out, you know, what enhancing who you are. And I just think I look at what's happened. Not that I want this to be about last year, but I think this is part of the flow-on effects of that. And if you're a quieter kind of person, it's our happy place to stay at home and be quieter. So I think we need to then flip it around and lift ourselves out of it. So on purpose today, I wore my new silk shirt, which for any of you who know me, I love roses. So it's all, you know, big cabbage roses and things. And as soon as I put it on, I suddenly went, yep, I feel like me again. And prior to that, I've been working at home this morning. I was in my yoga gear because I did yoga this morning. You know, hair up in a bun, yoga gear, cardi, all that kind of thing. But it's going from that casual headspace to the business professional presentation kind of headspace, that flick.
For me, actually, because working from home, it's easy to not get
Very
dressed
easy.
up. Like
Yeah, it is.
I do wear makeup every day.
Yeah,
You know, that's just kind of my thing that gives me my confidence. But working from home,
yeah,
I don't necessarily choose to dress up every day, but I
yeah,
might try that. I might actually try
yeah,
changing what I'm wearing a little bit and see if that really helps me step
yeah,
into different spaces in my.
yeah. Yeah. I once read a book years and years and years ago, well before the last 12 months, and it was all about the home-based business, which of course most of us now, whether we have a business or work for someone else, we're still a percentage of time based at home. And there are a few brilliant suggestions. One is go for a walk around the block every morning to sort of signify starting your day. But two is get dressed, and then at the end of the day, change out of your work gear. So, like what you've just described. And I must say, I have always done that actually. I try and not stay in the super home gear every day. I might do it one day a week, but I try not to, because I find it helps elevate my little pep, even if I'm not talking to anyone that day. It's like it resets the brain a bit, that today's a worky day, and
I
it
love
just helps
that.
the positivity too, lift your energy. Yeah,
Absolutely. And I
yeah,
think I think you've covered beautifully in terms of holistic styling and
yeah,
how those
yeah,
elements can help for our individual approach and finding
yeah,
confidence and loving our bodies as well. So thinking about the upcoming masterclass that we have next
yeah,
Saturday. So choose your own
yes,
style adventure, which I think sounds like lots of
yeah,
fun, helping
yeah,
discover that version of you. Would you mind
yes,
sharing just a few kind of sneak peeks of what we could expect in that masterclass?
yeah, yeah. So what the ethos behind Choose Your Own Adventure is I've put into bite-sized concepts that are easy, achievable, little wins that you can do and adapt in your wardrobe yourself. So I've broken them down for us that we will discuss at our masterclass. I think, like all things, it's the art of like, without putting us all, saying to us all, you need to wear, how you see with some stylist things, oh, you must own a pair of black pants, you must own this, you must own that. I actually tip that up on its head, and I don't think that way at all. I think it's about being an individual and embracing who you are. So it's giving you those guidelines to follow, to embrace your amazing uniqueness. Um, yeah, which is what we'll be focusing on.
And I think that links in so beautifully. I share a lot about, in terms of health, really
Yeah.
expanding the vision for what you want your health to look like and feel like. And I really feel like
Mm,
the masterclass fits beautifully into that, and kind of,
mm,
that next step is, what do I want? What does my style look like for me? What does it look like?
mm,
What does it feel like?
mm,
How do I show
mm.
that? I think it's going to be
And I think our style, um, you know, ebbs and flows, and changes depending on what stage of life we're at too. And if you've just gone through a really big change, so maybe your children are all at primary school or all at secondary school, or maybe they've just left home, and you're suddenly like, right, now what? Who am I now again? Or maybe you're newly single after a long-term situation, and it's time to sort of find yourself again, and who is she again. And so I think it's about refining and reflecting that within our own style at the different stages of our lives.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm,
And what worked for you,
mm,
yeah, it
absolutely.
like 10 years ago might not work for you right now.
Yeah. And I think in turn that can then help perhaps lovingly letting go of, so the example you gave earlier on this call of perhaps some of your corporate pieces, maybe there's a way that they can be integrated, changed, altered to fit your life now. And if they can't, if it's just not the right look at all, maybe that is the permission to give it away, to donate it, to sell it, whatever, but let it go. For the new version of you now, for who you are now. You're different.
And what a beautiful way to look at that is, to letting go of that older version of yourself and really just embrace.
Absolutely. And finding, like, there are so many amazing places that you can give pieces. Maybe it's one that comes to mind is like, domestic violence for women trying to get back out into the workforce who need help. Maybe that's the perfect place to give, like, a corporate suit that you're not going to wear again. Doesn't that just get your heart that another woman who is doing it tough, who could, like, that might be the difference with her getting the job. So
be able to gift that on.
And that then reframes the holding on, letting go angle.
Well, I'm really looking forward to next Saturday, and you shared so many words of wisdom with us today, but if there was one style tip perhaps that you could leave ladies with today, what would that be?
I had thought of one that was quite different until we started talking. I've changed my mind. My one style tip would be, when you are feeling like wearing your yoga gear all day, or Jimmy Jams, or home attire, maybe reframe that and shake it up a bit and put on something that is a little bit more zhuzhed up, whether that is, a pair of jeans and cool runners, or go the high heels, like change it up and see whether that affects your demeanor and your outlook that day. And share it with me next week.
Okay, I am going.
I'd love to hear. Are you?
I'm just at home for the day. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I am going to try, and I'm also going to try on the days where I am doing work.
Yeah.
Really just mixing that up a bit and seeing if that kind of helps me step into that workspace a little bit better. Yes.
Yeah. Good. I will look forward to hearing the review.
Wonderful. And if you don't mind, I just wanted to share. So I have shared your link to your business website as well, and your social platforms and things too. But I just wanted to share, you have some beautiful, kind words from past clients who have worked.
I do.
Which, I think the ladies who listen to this conversation today are going to get a real sense for the energy that you show up in and what you bring. And you really do offer that kind, gentle approach, which, is why we've connected so well. But, I'm reading some of these beautiful words from your website of, you really help people step into embracing their authentic individuality rather than that cookie fast fashion. We're so used to fast fashion now, aren't we? Understand why certain shapes and fabrics don't necessarily work for your body, and also just going back to that sprinkling of kindness and with self-love as well, but I see you've had such an amazing impact on the ladies who have been lucky enough to work with you. You've offered them so much value, and in a really respectful and non-judgmental way too. Everyone deserves that, don't they? Everyone deserves to get that non-judgmental from other people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for saying all of that. Yeah, I that's the bit I love. I love a deeper connection and impact. really, you know, making that difference in people's lives, like that's what it's all about, actually. It's and that's why I call it holistic, because yes, it's about the fundamentals of fashion. It is, but it's about so much more than that. And we, you know, we're multidimensional women, and it's about understanding those fundamentals that then you take away. And you know, we keep refining and growing and changing, but it's yeah, it's those fundamentals. And then, you know, I often end up working with women for years and years and years, which I love, and we all become friends, and it's really lovely. You know, it's a nice way to run.
In the, you know, the time that we have got to know each other. Of course, I follow you, you know, on social, support you as much as I can, but I think that really shines through in
thank you.
your posts and even in the conversation today. Like, you actually have a genuine interest in supporting other women, you know, particularly, and that's true in both businesses. So well done to you for staying true to yourself, and, you know, showing up as the true you. I think that's super special as well.
Thank you for saying that. That's so kind. You know, in the world of social media, it's such a, which we were talking about beforehand. Oh, you know, it's quite a big thing to show up and be you, particularly when, you know, my way is quite a bit different to mainstream, and you know, it takes a little bit of courage, and I weave in and out a bit, but I think it's really important too, you know, to honour who we are and embrace that. And look, it's taken me years to truly do that. Like all of us, well, not all of us, many of us, it takes time to honour that within ourselves.
And you've been my listening ear to that as I've been working through that in the last 6 years. So, and it's always lovely to spend time with you. I know it's been, you know, virtual again today, but it's been lovely to spend time with you. And
thank you.
As I said, I really wanted to be able to bring you in for the conversation today, so the ladies could be surrounded by your energy, but also learn from you. And, you know, and hear, I guess, what we're bringing up in the Masterclass Saturday week.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm so happy that we're able to offer this out to the wider community as well, because I know that everyone could get so much from you and so much support. So thank you once again for your time. You're always so generous with your time. So thank you very much. I've enjoyed the conversation today, and I will reshare the links to the Masterclass and to your website as well, so the ladies can learn more before our experience.
Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to it, ladies.
Thanks so much, Jane. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. All right. See you next week.
Bye.